At the start of the story, we see many people drowning in the water. Everyone was about to die. But here a lady was giving her last breath to save her daughter. The scene cuts from here. We meet a police officer, Jude, who was told to find a dead body at the beach. Immediately they reach for the investigation. They see that there are many other people's corpses instead of one. Here they also find a small child, who is also alive. Jade rescues her. After a while, some more living people are also taken out of the water. All the people who had drowned in the water. No one had a life jacket. And this thing seems a little strange to everyone. No one knew where all this came from. When Jade asks the same question to that little girl, then the little girl named Leah tells that, I and my mom have come here from the war. That is going to happen in the future. There is a twist in this story. All these people who are being taken out of the beach, they have all come from the future to the past. Since this was said by a little girl, so no one believes her. Here an investigation team is called, which investigates everyone. And during the investigation, a survivor named Caleb tells them that they have really come from the future to the past, escaping from the future humans, who are called Apex. Apex are much more powerful and much more intelligent than ordinary humans, because through genetic engineering, all those humans have been modified. And in the future, the common man, Apex, wants to kill all those people. A girl tells them that she and her dad reached a cave by crossing a lot of checkpoints with great difficulty. And in this cave, it was the time of the early 21st century. Emma, who is an investigator, asks her, is there a time machine involved in all this? Have you come here through a time machine? But after these people answered no, it was now difficult for the investigators to believe their stories. Investigator Emma and Jade decide that they will analyze all these recordings. Are they all lying, or have they really come from the future? The scene cuts, and we are shown the scene of the beach again, where a girl has been rescued by a fisherman. The girl's name is Reese, and she is the main character of our story. All the survivors present here were now worried about their future lives, while Caleb was thankful for his new life. During a little more investigation from Caleb, Emma tells them that all these survivors will now be sent to temporary camps. The story that the survivors are telling, but it is difficult to believe for anyone. She wanted Caleb to give them a clue to get to the core of the story. Meanwhile, a man named Thomas comes inside this camp. He tells Emma that he has some important information, that I will only tell the president. I just met the president. On which Emma tells him that you'll have to give proof about that thing. Only then will your meeting be called by the president. On which Thomas reveals another such big truth that those people are not the first group who came here in the past. Even before that, a group has come here in the past. And Emma is even more shocked to hear this. According to them, these people had come back 108 years ago. Cut to the scene, we see Reese, who was hiding in Jade's car. She was alive, but now she had to find her daughter. She felt that maybe her daughter has died. So she points a gun at the head of Jade and tells him to take me to the place where you have kept the dead bodies. Whatever Jade does, he takes her there. But he himself does not get out of the car, saying that he does not have the clearance to go inside. Reese goes alone inside that place, and as soon as she goes, she turns off the electricity there. It was getting dark everywhere. Taking advantage of this darkness, Reese secretly starts looking for her daughter in these dead bodies with a light. But unfortunately, the security guards saw her here. Before the security guards catch her, she shows her good skills here. And defeating both of them, she manages to escape by breaking the glass window present there. Seeing all these skills of Reese in the CCTV footage, Emma and her friends were impressed. When Jade was worried about all this, he says to Emma, I don't think this Reese is right. To which Emma says to him, okay, never interact with her again. The scene cuts and shows us that all the refugees had been taken to a summer camp. This whole place was in the jungle. Here, Leah, that is, Reese's daughter, is kept with Caleb, who has also agreed to keep her happily with him, because he feels her like his daughter. After the scene cut, we find out that Emma has been informed of the severe injury of one of her agents. This gives Emma and her colleagues the idea that there may be some Apex in their summer camp, who has taken that agent to such a bad state. Somewhere now they also started believing in the story of the survivors. After a lot of thinking, Emma decides to introduce Thomas to her boss, who is the head of the Department of Home Security, because Thomas had told them that another group had come here from the future. When Thomas meets Emma's boss, a very big truth is revealed, that he knew everything about these groups coming from the future. Not only that, he himself was one of those people who had come from the future. He says to Thomas, "It's been a long time since I've been here. I know everything." After the scene is cut, we are shown the scene of Jade's house, where Reese sneaked in secretly. Jade had pointed a gun at her by thinking her a thief. But here Reese tells him that, "My purpose of coming here is not wrong. I just want to find my daughter." And in all this, he needs Jade's help. Jade gets ready, but only at this moment that she will tell her whole story from start to finish to Jade. After that, the scenes are cut from here and go to the future. We come to know that Reese is also an apex. That is, a superhuman. In the future, common people are considered very weak. Even Apex was killing a lot of people. Reese goes to a camp where there are a lot of infected people, and the last hours of his death are counting. Apexes are not afraid to come here, because they're already immune to this virus. In this camp, Reese gets a baby that has not yet been infected. Reese was very much in love with this baby. Reese fell in love with this baby. So Reese picks up this baby. But she was ordered to kill all the people here. To save this baby, Reese had killed his apex companions. After that, she came to her house with this baby. Reese's husband was not ready to keep this baby, but Reese insists and somehow convinces him. But here her husband deceives her, and he tells the leaders about keeping this baby in his house. Reese was very sad to know that her husband had deceived her. In anger, she kills all the apex here except her husband. She knew that she and her daughter would be killed. To save both of them, she comes home and packs. By taking her daughter, she goes to a transporter, from where she had to come here by time travel. Everything was going fine, but suddenly there was a problem with their transporter, and they all drowned in this water. This is the same scene that we saw in the beginning of the story. Many people died in this accident. Only a few people survived. The scene ends and we are shown in the summer camp that all the refugees are going after the DNA test. The refugees were told that with this DNA test, they will be able to find out where these refugees came from. But actually, they wanted to find out from this DNA test who is apex in their group. On the other hand, after hearing the story of Reese, he had agreed to make her meet with her daughter. But before he could fulfill his promise, the interview videos of the refugees came in front of him, in which he told that how Apex had been cruel to him. There was a war. All these things changed the truth for Reese, and he immediately locks Reese in his house. He immediately calls Emma and tells her that he has caught Apex. He wanted Emma to come to meet him alone. She should not tell anyone about Apex's news, so that these people can decide whether to help Reese or not. But here Emma breaks his trust and tells his boss the truth that Apex is found. Jade did not know that Reese was standing near the door and heard everything said by him and Emma. And he also found out that her daughter is in the old summer camps. She now starts guessing how she will get out of this place. Before she could say anything, Emma had brought her entire police force here, who all together attack Emma. But here Emma fights all alone, and from their open door, she goes out and jumps into the water. In simple words, she was successful in running away from here. And as soon as Jade got the news of this whole incident, Jade was completely broken. He no longer trusted Emma. He calls Emma and tells her that now he will not be able to support Emma in this project. As soon as he said this, he hung up the phone. After leaving this project, he had returned to his normal life, where he had a family. He had a son. Reese also comes out of the water and comes to a store. As soon as he came, she took care of the bullet which hit her. And then while writing a dangerous message on the door of the store, she ran away from there. On the other side of the summer camp, we meet again with Thomas, who has a meeting with Emma's boss. He had made Thomas agreed that he will not tell the truth to anyone here. That actually the boss has also come from the future. Not only this, he also convinces Thomas to help him and gives him the responsibility that he makes sure that all the refugees are following their orders. At the camp, a man was bothering the refugee Hannah. She was very scared of this. She also tells the police officer about this. But the police officer does not pay attention to her. She wanted to run away from this camp. But when no one is ready to listen to her, then she hides in the policeman's car, succeeds in getting out of here. The scene cuts and shows us the scene of the jungle. The jungle which is surrounded by the police from all sides. Because this jungle was near the store where Reese had written a message. They knew that Reese would be hiding here. We also see Reese hidden in the leaves here, who suddenly attacks a police officer and kills him. On the other hand, Emma gets the news that Reese's daughter Leah is getting very sick. What is her problem? The doctors of the camp are not able to recognize this. That's why she calls a special doctor to her camp. In the camp, she also notices that Thomas was explaining to his people that everyone should obey the orders of the authorities and stop talking about the fact that they have come from the future. Here we see Hannah, who ran away through the police car. In this park, Jade was also with his son. Here Hannah meets a refugee marshal, who also starts enjoying here. Hannah, who came here from the police officer's car. When the police officer found Hannah's scarf in his car's trunk, he found out that Hannah is in this park. Without wasting time, he goes to the park and catches Hannah. To save Hannah, when the marshal starts fighting with him, here the police officer shows his badge to him. Jade had also come here to see their fight, and now both of them want to take Hannah back to the refugee camp. After the scene is cut, we see the scene of the jungle again, where the police officers are in the whole jungle. But Reese is not visible anywhere. As soon as the two police officers come under a tree, then suddenly someone jumps from the tree. It was Reese who controlled both of them in a minute. In a minute, he kills both of them and gets them out of the jungle, where there was another police officer. He picked up the dead police officer's gun, which he points at this other police officer. To save himself, this police officer uses a special device here. The sound coming out of it was torturing Reese. But Reese was able to control herself here. As soon as she grabs that man's neck and bends, she also makes him unconscious. After killing all the police officers in the jungle, she takes a police officer's car and leaves for the city. As soon as Jade gets the news of the police officer's death, then Jade comes here to investigate. In the mouth of the last police officer killed by Reese, he gets a message, in which it was written, "Now you will suffer." As soon as this happened, Jade thought of his son first. And as soon as he went to his house, his doubt was absolutely fine. Reese had kidnapped his son. Knowing this, he starts crying badly. And then he gets a call from Reese, who tells Jade that she has kidnapped his son. But for now he is absolutely fine. And it will be fine only if Jade helps him meet her daughter. Jade also agrees, because now he had no other way. Through his son's phone, he wanted to continuously track his son's location. But unfortunately, Reese was more intelligent than him. She had left Jade's son's phone in an empty car. Even though he didn't want to, he had to do Reese's work as soon as possible. As soon as he goes to the refugee camp, the other officers stop him here, because Jade was forbidden to come inside. Jade deceives these police officers. As soon as he tries to come inside, the security guards catch him. Before he goes to jail, his boss Emma comes at the right time and saves him. At this time, Emma's questioning eyes were asking Jade, "What were you doing?" Jade tells him clearly about the deal between him and Reese. Also, that Reese has kidnapped his son. If he doesn't take Reese's daughter to her, she will kill his son. Hearing this, Emma tells him, "I'm sorry, I can't help you, because Reese's daughter Leah is infected with a very bad virus. If it spreads out, there are chances of the world being in danger." Jade himself was seeing that girl in the isolation chamber at this time. Emma tells him all the conditions here, and leaves saying that we can't take her from here. After his departure, Jade confirms all these things to the doctor. And the doctor says that it is very important for me to take this girl from here. Then the doctor tells Jade that the next few hours are very important for her life. If you take her from here, she will die. After hearing this, Jade says, "Okay, then you come with me. Go and tell Reese the whole situation." As soon as the doctor refuses to do this, Jade starts blackmailing him. saying that he will break the girl's isolation chamber. Despite not wanting to do this, the doctor has to go with him. As soon as Emma heard the news of Jade's departure from here, she called Jade. She wanted Jade to come back to the camp with the doctor as soon as possible, before Reese does something bad to him. But Jade says and refuses her that if he doesn't go to Reese, his son's life could be in danger. Jade's phone is picked up by the doctor while talking to Emma, and Emma is told that if Reese comes here, it will be easier to treat Leah from his blood, because she is an Apex, and she has the antibodies of this virus in her blood. Listening to her, Emma allows her to go with Jade, but only on the condition that she will update her every half an hour. On the other hand, we see that Reese went fishing with Jade's son. He was very fond of going there. That's why Oliver, Jade's son, was also happy. He asks Reese, "Do you have a son or a daughter?" Reese replies, "Yes, I have a daughter. We will meet her in a while." On the way, Jade and the doctor were talking about Reese. The doctor believed that Reese is genetically strong only because of evolution. On the other hand, Jade believed that no, these humans have been made to fight specially. That's why Reese can be dangerous for them. Anyway, they now go to Reese. The doctor goes to Reese and explains everything that Leah is sick and her release can put the whole world at risk. Despite understanding everything, Reese wanted to meet her daughter somehow. But Jade explains to her that doing this can be very dangerous. You can go to jail. The answer to which the doctor gives and says, "Leave all this to me. I will somehow take Reese to the camp." "Jade, you go and see your son." Jade also immediately goes to his son. He was so happy to meet him that tears began to fall from his eyes. In the police station, we now see Marshall, who is asking a police officer about the refugee camp, because the other police officer had taken Hannah to the camp. He wanted to go to her because he started liking Hannah, while Hannah was preparing to make a knife in her camp at this time, with which she attacks the man who used to come to her room every day to harass her. After leaving her room, she quietly follows this man, and before she attacks this man, Caleb catches her and stops her, and goes to the room and asks, "What were you doing?" Then Hannah tells him that this boy harasses her every day. "That's why I wanted to kill him." Here Hannah also tells Caleb that she used to work with Apex in the future. That's why it's not at all difficult for her to kill people. In the refugee camp, we meet a man named Paul. He was sitting with a girl who was sketching here. Paul asks her, "Do you also make sketches of humans?" Upon answering yes, Paul asks her, "Will you make a sketch for me?" He makes a sketch of his wife from this girl, whom he wanted to find. She had migrated with the first group and had come here in the past. Taking this sketch, he goes to a police officer who had given this sketch to Emma. Seeing this sketch, Emma was suddenly surprised. As if she knows this woman, she takes a car from the emergency and goes to someone's house. While knocking, we see that she is the same sketch girl, i.e. Paul's wife. When Emma goes to her house and learns her story from her, this woman tells her that yes, she is really Paul's wife. Their married life was going very well, but only until Paul joined a cult group. This cult group believed that these people had come from the future. This woman's sign was towards the refugees. Emma gets confused after hearing his story and says, "Do you have any evidence of this?" That woman says yes and leaves from here to get some papers. While she was not here, Emma visits her house. She sees her boss in a picture. Before Emma asks any question to that woman about this picture, that woman suddenly shoots Emma from behind. In the next scene, we see that the doctor has taken Reese to a refugee camp. To make medicine, Reese himself takes out her own blood and gives it to the doctor. Seeing her courage and audacity, the doctor could not resist but be impressed with her. While making medicine, she asks a lot of questions to Reese. But as a result of all this, Reese gets angry. The medicine was not fully prepared yet. The doctor in the lab hears that Leah's condition is getting worse. Hearing this news, Reese's condition was also getting worse. The doctor gives her courage, and then takes the prepared medicine and gives it to Leah. As soon as she applied this medicine, surprisingly Leah started recovering very quickly. On the other hand, Jade, who was trying to contact Emma, was not able to contact Emma, because we know that that woman has killed Emma. Meanwhile, another police officer comes to Jade and tells him that He has found the body of an unidentified man, which Reese had brought here. The matter was a bit confusing, so Jade takes this case himself. Now the case file is being read by him, and another officer comes and asks him about Emma, who is not getting any news. Jade thought that Reese must have gone behind Emma's disappearance, so he checks every place where Reese had gone. Jade comes back to the office and gets information about Emma's boss. In the meantime, he gets the news that Marshall's family had also had a car accident. It was also possible that this dead body had something to do with this accident. That's why they start looking for clues. And Marshall is called for investigation. Marshall also identifies the dead man's body. And the scene is cut from here. And we are shown the flashback of the accident, where we learn that in this accident, both Emma's boss and Paul's wife were involved. They both came from the future. And here they also make a plan to end their apex. Emma's boss had also gotten a promotion. Now for them, this job, their mission would have been easier. But then they find out that 47 more people have come here from the future. Anyway, the scene shifts back to the present. And in the refugee camp, we see the doctor, Caleb's wife, that is, the girl came to meet, who has been made Leah's mom upon coming here. She asks the doctor about Leah's condition. The doctor says that Leah has recovered a lot more than before. Hearing this, she is surprised and asks the doctor if she has taken the help of Reese. I told you, it's an apex. It's very dangerous. What did you do? Here the doctor doesn't pay much attention to what she says. And with the medicine made from Reese's blood, they see the reaction of their blood. Under the microscope, she was surprised to see that there were a lot of positive changes in her blood. Anyway, for now, she goes to Reese and tells her about her daughter's condition. She also shows her a picture of Leah and says that soon I will try to admit Leah to the hospital. It will be easier for both of you to escape from there. After that, Reese goes to a man who had a lot of connections with the mafia. She wanted this man to go and make legal documents for her and her daughter to stay here. The boy takes Reese to his boss, where Reese goes and tells him about her purpose. She wanted legal documents, in return for which he was going to give money to the mafia. But the mafia did not believe in Reese. He was going to get Reese caught for his men here. But Reese instead catches that man and beats him up and makes him feel bad. And then she tells the head of the mafia to open this bag. After opening the bag, we see that there was a lot of money left in it. After the scene is cut, on the other side, we see the police officer near an ATM where the money was stolen. Obviously, it was making us all understand that no one else had stolen the money but Reese. On the other side, there is a meeting between the doctor and Emma's boss, where the doctor gives them the good news that Leah's condition is very good. That too because of Reese's blood. The doctor had given them this news. What she did not know that this good news would affect her, because the boss fired her from her job, because of the meeting between Reese and Leah. Knowing all this, the doctor was very angry. She comes out of this camp in anger. She was getting sick, because of which she calls Reese. She urgently needed a blood sample for herself, but Reese refuses to give it to her, because she did not care about anyone but her daughter. Her selfishness made the doctor throw the phone aside, and in the meantime, she fainted due to a severe heart attack, after which she fainted in the hospital. After the scene cut, we see Reese, who now goes back and buys some weapons from the gangster, which were going to be useful in Leah's mission to save her. On the other hand, Jade meets a man named Martin. He was a private investigator who was going to help her in this case. Jade learns from the information given by Martin that his boss is also involved in this case. After the scene cut, we see a group of 27 people. It is known that this is the group that had migrated from the future and came here. From what happened between them, we came to know that they came here from the future to save their lives and ordinary people from the apex. All these people had changed their identities, and they were living together with ordinary people. Their mission was to stop the apex from being made in the future. But the other group from the future had failed their entire plan. So now they want to kill the other group, so that their secret remains a secret that they have also come from the future. And the beginning of this is Paul's wife trying to kill her husband, because he had also told the truth of his wife to Emma first. because of which this woman had to murder Emma. Before killing Paul, Paul's wife had also made a video by putting him in her talks, through which they spread this false news to the people that these people did not come from the future. In fact, this is a part of the cult. After watching this video, Jade was very confused that what is the story. He doubted that this video was also made by his boss. He wanted to hear all this story from his boss. And for him, it was good that he got his boss on duty road. When an officer asks for the documents of his car from his boss, he did not have the documents. Then Jade comes to his car from the other side, and he smells alcohol from the car. That is, he was drinking and driving, and this was a crime. In this crime, they catch the boss. When the mayor gets this news, the mayor gets angry at Jade and orders her boss to release him at any cost. She was doing all this illegally, so Jade could also blackmail her. Jade says to her, "Have you thought about the refugees? When will they be able to live their lives freely?" To get rid of himself, her boss says to her, "Okay, I allow the refugees to roam the town for a day." After hearing this news, Jade was a little satisfied, but there were also many conditions in this. The refugees were being taken out of here wearing trekking bracelets. Leah and Hannah, with Caleb's wife in the first group, were going to leave the town. Caleb tells his wife, "I'm scared, you don't go out." But Caleb's wife goes out without listening to him. Near the refugee camp, we see Reese, who was quietly sitting there for a sniper. Her plan was that she would shoot all the police officers here and get her daughter released and take her away. But when she sees that her daughter is going to the town outside the refugee camp, she had to change her plan. When they came to this town, they were very happy. Hannah meets Marshall again, and they get very close to each other. On the other side, someone gives a letter to Leah, on which a strange language was written, and a signboard was made. Leah takes that card and goes ahead, and after going a little far, she sees a signboard, which was exactly like her card. She goes ahead. Suddenly someone pulls her inside. It was no one else but Jade, who had removed the trekking bracelet from her hand. After that, he hands it over to Reese, because somewhere now he started believing in Reese. Or, I don't know, he was trapping Reese. But God knows Reese immediately runs away with her daughter from here. Far from the city, these people come to a hotel. They now had new identities obtained by the mafia, through which they could live in this city. When they reach out of the town, Reese finds out that there was a tracker in the tray that was after Leah. This is also very dangerous for her. She leaves this trail in this hotel and runs away as fast as she can with Leah. But on the way, her tire is brushed. Suddenly, the forces attacked her, as a result of which Reese was unconscious. While these people had caught Leah, here a man calls someone and tells that we have completed our target. When Reese came to her senses, she found herself on an operation board. Emma's boss and Paul's wife were both keeping an eye on her. They ask a doctor to start her operation, but the doctor, while saying this, refuses to do the operation. That removing her DNA can put her life in danger. Now these people could not tell the truth of their mission to the doctor. That's why Emma's boss calls the same doctor who treated Leah again, because she already knew about Reese. So there was nothing hidden from her. So now he gives this job to this doctor. When the doctor comes near her to treat Reese, she says to Reese, "Don't worry, I will definitely come to save you again." But this time Reese did not trust her. The doctor had also done the job of Emma's boss, after which she started leaving. But before leaving, the boss checks her bag, from which he does not get anything. On going out, we see that the doctor had stolen Reese's blood sample, which she wanted to make a medicine for herself. In the refugee camp, we see a girl named Nomi. Nomi's entire room was filled with strange writings. Caleb's wife, who kept an eye on her, did not understand why she did this. One day, she decides to go and ask Nomi what she has written on the walls. When she goes to her room at night, she sees that a lot of people are already in her room. Nomi also happily calls her to her. And here, putting all this in her words, he tells everyone that I am a prophet. Rebecca had also come into his words, without knowing that the language she had written here was the language of the apex. As time went on, this spread to the city, and people began to protest to free the refugees. Judges and officers control the public with great difficulty. And to do this, they have to arrest some people. Among the arrested people, they find a girl named Diana, about whom they found out that she is also an immigrant. She has also come from the future, because she came in the last group. So no one knew about her. She was an apex engineer. With a device, she could very easily find out where another truck from the future is. But it took her a lot of time to make this device. She starts making this device, in which Jade was helping her. Here, Diana tells Jade the truth that Emma's boss and Paul's wife also came with her from the future. Anyway, the scene cuts and we see that the doctor has reached Jade's house. She tells Jade that Reese is in trouble and asks him for help. Reese, who is still in the same prison, was suffering from her daughter's visions. These visions were giving her a lot of pain. She screams loudly. Hearing this, the doctor here comes to her. To calm her down, he turns on a device, from which high-frequency noise was coming out. He sees that as he was increasing the pitch of this device, in the same way, Reese's heart rate was decreasing. That's why he turns up the pitch of the device and leaves. Because of this, Reese's heartbeat stops. He was satisfied to see this. But I don't know from where Reese got so much strength. That not only did she come to her senses, but she also got her prison broken here. Seeing this, the guards come to catch her here. But in the meantime, Jade and the doctor had also come back to help her. Seeing this, she is very satisfied. Before leaving here, she finishes the poisonous medicine she made with her blood, due to which Emma's boss and Paul's wife had planned to kill all the immigrants. But before they could get out of here, a man from here catches the doctor and starts blackmailing Jade. Jade had also lowered his weapon after seeing this situation. But the Reese standing behind sees another gun in Jade's pocket. And without wasting time, she takes out the gun and shoots the girl from behind. Finally, Reese was now free. She leaves from here when she wants to show us that the antidote that the doctor had made for herself with her blood was very powerful. 93% of this antidote had a chance that any person could die from it. But 7% had a chance that all the diseases in a person could be cured with this antidote. Thinking this, the doctor picks up the antidote and injects it inside herself. For a second, she got cured as if nothing had ever happened to her. But the next second, she fainted there. It could also have been that she was dead. Anyway, as soon as Jade returns home, he finds out through his colleague that the girl named Diana, who was making the device, has left the device half-made, because he found out that her wife had come to other migrants. Not understanding anything, Jade picks up this device and takes care of it. And these people now go to the refugee camp. Now, because they all knew that the boss wanted to kill all these immigrants, Jade, his colleague Reese, and Caleb had all set up a mission to save their lives. They had to somehow get these refugees out of this security camp. But this was not that easy, because there was a fence all around the refugee camp, and there was a high-voltage current running in this fence. Jade's colleague, who was in the camp at this time, goes to the camp's powerhouse and turns off the current of the fence, after which Jade and his people cut the fence from behind and enter the refugee camp. As soon as these people could, they start taking out all the immigrants who had come here. In the end, it was Hannah's turn to leave. She was holding the fence at this time, and suddenly, when the current came back inside the fence, she fainted here. All the refugees who had managed to get out of here safely pick up Hannah and take her away from here. When the scene is cut, we see that Jade is meeting his boss at this time in a part of this refugee camp. If he wanted, who were betraying him here, he could have killed Jade and his other companions. But then he realizes that there was no difference between him and the Apex. The Apex were doing injustice to ordinary people, to end the danger of the Apex. And he wanted to kill these poor immigrants, just in the fear that there may be some Apex in them. He had also become a devil. Realizing this, he kills his companions here, who wanted to kill the rest of the immigrants. After which he let Jade and his colleagues go from here. Finally, Jade's mission was complete. He had